Monday morning, folks. With the onset of Diwali, we also have a perfect Diwali gift, which is sky high gold and silver prices. You were at the LPMA conference that was held recently in Miami. I hear that there was a lot of interesting talk about the price because that is a hot topic right now. Could you just briefly give us a sense of what were the discussions like? Not just limited to gold, but maybe even silver and even platinum, just from the price perspective.
The LPMA conference is the annual conference. Just to give everyone a background, there were about 800 people from across the world. These are miners, hedge funds, banks, as well as analysts, producers, industrial users, jewelers, etc. So it was really a wide representation of our industry. What came out of it is, briefly, what I'll talk about is gold, silver, and then platinum. All three of them were interesting stories. I think the gold rally, and while we were at the conference, actually, gold hit an all time high. And subsequently more all-time highs. I think what I could see was that the industry itself was quite surprised. They had been bullish. People had been bullish from 2200 onwards, and were expecting 2600, 2700 to be the target. But the fact that it had just kept going higher without too many pullbacks, I think surprised a lot of technical players, a lot of traders, and the traders were quite surprised that gold has just kept on having this steam. And so people are quite perplexed. But of course, I think everybody is now positioned from a long basis, and so they are bullish, but they are, like I said, surprised why gold is continuing in this bullish run without taking a break. Moving to silver, silver, I think overall people were far more bullish on. They could justify the high prices, and they felt the price could go higher. And the justification really was on because of the gold silver ratio, saying that gold has gone up so much, silver really hasn't had the same impact. So the gold silver ratio actually is quite high compared to historical levels. Historically, it's been about 50 to 60. Right now, it's around 85. So people still felt that silver may have more catch up to do going forward. The star of the three metals, of course, was platinum. People felt that, I would say, fallen star. People felt that platinum hasn't seen an upward trend. There are a lot of fundamental reasons why platinum should be higher, and people are surprised given the fact that supply is going to be squeezed. Demand is still quite high. People were quite surprised that we haven't seen the run up in platinum. And what people were talking about is that they would not be surprised if suddenly platinum went up 10, 20, 30% in the coming months.
Thanks, Neil. I think that's a fairly apt summary. From a technical price outlook perspective, let's quickly look into the charts and see what we have for this week. So I have here, Sunil, the 4 hourly charts for US spot gold. If you remember from 2 weeks back, I had drawn these structural patterns indicating a leg up, a correction, a leg up, and a correction. It was here where I had said that we would see a huge jump as marked by this red line. And maybe it did not really happen at this point in juncture, but you see that as soon as it touched this ascending trend line support here, you did see this run up as indicated by this red line all the way and crossing the 2700 barrier. So looking forward, it's very clear that in $50 intervals, we have each resistances that are set up. We have the first resistance at 2750. This is where you would expect a pullback. And the second one is 2800. This is the next resistance. On the downside, if there is a retracement, and I'm sure there will be, prices might correct back to 2680. This is where the previous high was. And from a more long-term perspective, if we see a deeper retracement where we see a huge percentage of these upticks really washed out, we might see the prices come down to 2630. I think this is the extent to which we might see a correction in gold. I wouldn't expect a deeper pullback because I don't see the fundamental factors creating this sort of an environment where we might see prices come back to 2600. Silver, on the other hand, was the star player for this week. We saw a massive uptick. Silver has now crossed the 32.7 barrier, which is this threshold that we had seen here, and it is currently at 33.7. It not only zoomed past the 32.7 resistance, it's almost on the cusp of even breaching 34. So the two resistances that we have in silver are one at 34 and the other at 35. And on the downside, we would put our pivots and supports around 32.7 and 31.6. The question that everyone has, Sunil, is where do we see prices culminating towards the end of this year? in the next 1 month and the next 2 months. And to do that, I thought it would be just good to utilize the forecast tool that we internally use to kind of get a sense of where the markets are going to be at. So this is for US spot gold, and this is for the 1 day charts. You see that the prices are potentially speculating to hit a high of 28.23 this year. This is the probably the max all-time high that we can expect gold to hit. Now, again, these predictions may be premature. We might see them play out in November or December, but the levels are important. That this is the highest level that we can see US spot gold hit. From a US from a spot silver perspective, that same level is around 35.34. If you see this, this is probably the max level that we might see US spot silver also reach now that it has broken above this 33.6 level as well. I was also looking at the open interest, and I can see that the open interests have been steadily rising in specifically COMEX gold. We also see from gold ETFs that the fund flows have been increasing steadily week on week, which means there's a lot of fresh buying into ETFs that is happening over the past 3 or 4 weeks, which is culminating into these high prices as well. So I think geopolitical factors definitely are at play, and you can see these fund flows are an indication of that. Thanks, Neil. I think that was just a quick recap of the price outlook. Let's see how the markets play out. But till then, thank you so much and goodbye.